Hey all, Altarian here with another video review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new re-released Diamond Select Toys Enterprise NX-01. And we're going to be comparing it to the original Art Asylum NX-01. This was the first ship in the Starship Legends line, and it came out back in 2002. So with the re-release, DST updated the paint, they updated the sounds, and they updated the lighting too. So we're going to take a look at the two, see how they look next to each other. So let's get to it, shall we? Alright, so the first thing that we're going to be taking a look at is any differences in the actual sculpt of the ship and the plastic. It does feel like there's a different plastic being used on the new one. It feels a little higher quality to me. I don't know if that is actually the case or not, if they are using a new plastic. It's very possible, since I'm pretty sure DST has switched factories and whatnot in the last 14 years, so it could very well be using a newer plastic. The other difference is these nacelles are permanently attached. On the original, you could pop them on and off. There's not really any practical use for that. It's just how they used to do their older ships. They did the same thing on the Enterprise A. Good thing with this one is there doesn't seem to be any kind of nacelle wonk like there was on the A, so that's a good thing. The other thing that they did was the stand. On the original, there were a lot of issues with the stand breaking. So DST supposedly reinforced it. So we're going to take a look at the original here. If you look at it, there does seem to be a good amount of bend to it. On the new one though, there's still some bend, but actually feeling it in person, it does feel like it's a little thicker. It does feel like it's a bit reinforced compared to the original. So it does feel like they did some reinforcements here, which hopefully that'll solve a lot of the issues that it had. I do wish that they would have redesigned the stand and gave it one of the newer two-armed ones. Those always feel a little sturdier. I also wish it was black instead of blue, but whatever, it's not that big of a deal. I do want to talk about a couple small little issues that I've had with the new ship that I didn't have on the old one. For instance, the battery cover on mine. To get to the battery cover, which is here, you have to remove this little bit. I really had to pry this off. I had to actually get like a screwdriver to pry this thing off. It didn't come off easily, and it also didn't go back on very easily. On the original, same thing. I never had that issue. It just came on and off really easily. So if they are using a different plastic, I don't know if that contributed to that or not, but that's just an issue I had. Again, I don't know if that's a widespread issue. If anyone of you guys had that problem, let me know. But that's just something I had. And then again, with the newer stand, if you take a look here, I'm going to put the stand on this one. It just pops in there super easily, and you get a good range of motion. If it will focus, you get a good range of motion. You don't have to worry about the ship falling off. It just stays on there really well on the original. With the newer one, this stand just doesn't go in there very well. Like, I can get it on there so it'll sit there, but if I start moving the ship around, it just falls off. So maybe that has something to do with them reinforcing the stand, I don't know. This ship, the newer one, actually sits a bit better on the original stand for me, so I might just use the original stand. Again, I don't know if it's a widespread issue or not. If you're having the same kind of issues with the stand, just let me know. But there really isn't much else to say about the actual plastic and physical sculpt of the ship. So we are going to move on and take a look at the actual paint apps, which is where some of the bigger differences are. Alright, so like I said at the beginning of the video, one of the things that DST updated on this ship was the actual paint apps. And if you just look at the two sitting here, you can see there are some pretty big differences between the two. And when I was actually looking at some pictures of the CGI model that they used for the show, the new ship is virtually spot on to the studio model. So DST did a damn good job on the paint apps on this ship. It's probably one of their best looking ships out there right now. So we're going to take a look at the top of the ship first. So we're going to show the original, oops, the cell's coming off, and the new one. Let's see if I can pull this off. Just getting a little closer look at the two next to each other. One of the biggest differences for me is the new ship seems to have a shinier silver color to it, whereas the original has kind of a matte gray. There also seems to be a bit more contrast between the base hull color and the Aztecing going on, and the Aztecing also has multiple different colors. If you look here, you can see there's multiple different shades of gray used for the Aztecing on just the hull, pretty much everywhere, whereas on the original, there's just two colors, a lighter gray and a darker gray. There really isn't much variety to the color. It still has a really cool Aztecing pattern, but it's not nearly as good looking as the new one does. Some of the bigger places that they have more detail on the ship here, on the side, I believe these are some of the loading bays on the ship. There's no detail here at all. These, what are these things called? The warp core output transfer junctions, these little gold things here, they're just one color. If we take a look at the new one, I lost my warp nacelle. The loading bay on the new ship actually has some nice detailing, and the things on the top, because I'm not going to say what they are again, they have some blue right here at the back, and they're a slightly different color. And then back here, if we can get this to focus, right in here, I can't really get much closer, there's actually some detailing going on in there. You can actually see the Enterprise name in the middle. Again, it's kind of hard to see it. I'm trying to think if that helps at all. Right in that little lower deck here, there's a lot more detailing. If you look at the original ship, there's no detailing in there at all. It's just a blank gray color. Again, another place that there's a good amount of new detail is the little pod in the middle here, the symmetrical warp field generator. It's just got a little bit of gold detailing going on here. On the newer one, you have a little better detailing, and there's a little bit of blue in that little dome on the top in the middle here. And again, the pylons have there's a lot more contrast on the pylons in their detailing. It looks a lot nicer, it pops a lot more, and looks really, really good. On the original, the detailing is still there on the original. It's just not, it doesn't stand out as well, but it's still there. So, I mean, the original ship did have some good detailing, but it's just been improved a lot on the newer one. And again, on the newer one, right up here by the deflector, that detailing on the deflector, it's there, but on the newer ship, it seems a lot more defined. And the actual thrusters on the newer ship are painted their copper color, which are not painted on the original. The original are just the gray color. They're molded on, but they're not painted. Alright, so let's see. The bottoms. We're going to take a look at the bottoms of the ship. The bottom of the new ship is beautiful. You can see the bottom of the saucer here, just to give you a look. The dome in the middle is a copper color on the original, and there is Aztecing on the bottom, but when I pull the new one up, you're going to see just how big of a difference there is in the actual Aztecing on the bottom of the ship. Alright, so the new one, look at that, there's just so much more Aztecing on the bottom. There's detail painting here. Again, I'm pretty sure these are the shuttle pod doors on both sides, and then the bottom dome is white, which is, I believe that's how it looked in the show. And again, the detailing here is also more pronounced on the newer ship. Whereas on the original, there's really not much detailing going on in the front. So the detailing is just insane. And we're going to look at the back, the pylons. Again, the detailing is just more contrast. They just did a really, really good job at the paint detailing on the new ship. They did a really, really good job. I always felt the NX-01, even the original, was one of DST's best-looking ships. And now they've just blown it out of the water with the new one. The only place that there is a discrepancy between DST's ship and the CGI model is these little bubble things on the back of the nacelles. They're supposed to be a copper color, and they're just silver. So that's really the only discrepancy between this new ship and the actual model used for the show. So they did a really, really good job on the paint apps on the new ship. It's easily their best looking ship. I'm really, really happy with it. One more thing I'm going to discuss are these red lines on the saucer. I'm pretty sure they're coming across there. I don't know how well. But on pretty much every model or toy of the NX-01, they have these red lines on the top of the saucer. They're supposedly on the actual model of the ship. I didn't see them when I looked at them, but on the new one, they're still there. But they aren't as pronounced or obvious, which I like because I don't really care for the red lines. So that's one other change. The red lines aren't as pronounced on the newer ship. So I like that quite a bit. That's all there is to say about the paint apps. Next up is going to be the lights and the sounds. Alright, so next up we're going to be taking a look, like I said, at the lights and the sounds. We're going to go through the sounds first and do the lights second. The sounds is another place that massive improvements over the original. So we're just going to run through them. I'm not going to really say much about them. So we're going to start with the original. There's only a couple. Alright, so that was it for those sounds. One thing you can notice, it's all just sound effects. A lot of the newer DST ships have actual voices, which is, spoilers. Archer talks on the new ship. So we're going to go through the new ship sounds.
This is Captain Archer of the Starship Enterprise. We're on a mission of exploration from the planet Earth.
There are a lot more on the new ship.
Prepare for warp. Stay on long-range scanners. Keep an eye out for any Klingon ships coming this way. Go to half impulse, Ensign. Hail them. This is the Starship Enterprise. Do you need assistance? Bring the grappler online. Open a channel. Bring the weapons online. Set a pursuit course. Archer to boarding party, come in. Torpedoes, fire! Resume our previous course. Let's go.
I believe that's all of them. Yep, that's all of them. So obviously a lot more sounds. It's a lot clearer, a lot crisper on the new one. There's a couple that are the same, like the grappler and the torpedoes and whatnot, and the warp effect. But for the most part, there are a ton of new ones, and they sound great. Archer's voice sounds a bit lower than it's supposed to be. I don't know if the dialogue is just slow or if it's just a lower sound to it. But that's all the sounds that there are. We're going to go through the lighting now. I know you saw some of it going through the sounds. We're not going to do all the sounds, just like one or two on the original so you can kind of see what's going on with the lights on the original, and then we'll compare it to the new one. The original used rice bulbs, and on the new one, they upgraded those to LEDs, so come off. Come on. There we go. All right. Get a little closer look at the lighting on the older ship. You can see there's light bleed up here by the registry, and then on the back of the nacelles, there's some pretty bad light bleed as well. Let's see if I can get the nacelles. The warp nacelles only have one light in the back, so they don't really have a super good light up on the actual nacelle grills. So that's all we're going to do on the original. There's really not much more to the lights. We'll do one more so you can see the impulse engines on the back of it. Of course, I did a sound that didn't light up the impulse engines. Well, I guess they do light up. They're kind of there. They're kind of hard to make out. They're not the brightest things in the world, but they're there. That's all I'm going to say for the lights on the original. They were rice bulbs. The new one definitely improved the lights. But the new ship, we went through pretty much all the sounds. There's one more. Since it's a new DST ship, they redid it. It has a lights on feature. But it's not just a lights on feature. It also does the bridge noises in the background, which is a new thing. They've done it on one other ship, the remake of the HD Enterprise. So it does the bridge noises by default when you hold down the bridge for a couple seconds. If you push it again, it'll just have the lights on, so we're just going to do the lights on. Again, you can see the lights are a lot brighter. We have the deflector, and my deflector is wonky, just like the original. The nacelles, they added another LED light. These are LEDs now instead of rice bulbs. They added a new LED to the front of the nacelles, so you get a better lit look to the grills. And then, of course, the impulse engines are significantly brighter on the new ship. So the lighting is definitely improved. Definitely improved on the new ship versus the old one. One place that's... Turn the light on. There we go. On the old new ship, there's no light bleed on the registry, which is a good thing for the most part. I am torn on it. I kind of liked it being lit up just because it made it look like the registry was being illuminated where the lighting was. So, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. But for the most part, they've eliminated the light bleed on this ship. There's a little bit on the front of the nacelle here. I'm going to turn the light off again so we can see this, so maybe a little bit better. But the painting on the nacelle isn't the best on this nacelle. It kind of is splotchy a little bit, so the light comes through pretty bad on this nacelle. This one, it's not as bad, but there is a little bit of light bleed at the front. But for the most part, they fixed a lot of the light bleed that was on the original ship. I'm just going to show you again how much worse it was on the original. So they definitely improved a lot of the light bleed. It's not perfect, but it is definitely an improvement. So they did a really good job on the lights and the sounds. I really love that they put a lights on feature in. That's one of the things I was really excited for. And I do like the bridge sounds too. Let that play so you can hear it. It just sounds really cool. I'm really happy that they put that on there. I hope they redo some of their other ships with the bridge sounds added to their lights on effect. But there's really not much more to say about the lights and the sounds. The new one is 100% an improvement over the old one. And they did a fantastic job on the lights and sounds as well. So that's all there is to say about the lights and the sounds. We're going to go do a recap. Alright, so to recap, new paint, new lights and sounds, reinforced stand, which for me is meh. I don't really like it too much because it doesn't sit on there very well. But otherwise, on the Enterprise A, when they redid that one, I didn't really think it was an improvement over the original. But with the NX-01, it's a complete 180. The NX-01 is in virtually every way, shape, and form an improvement over the original. There's really nothing other than how the stand fits that I would say is worse than the original. They did a fantastic job. If you can get this one, I would definitely recommend it. I wouldn't really say go for the original unless you just want the original to have it. I would say go for the new one. The new one is way better. I do hope they do some variants. I hope they do the ISS Enterprise, the one from the Mirror Universe episodes, with the yellow branding and insignias on it. I never got a chance to get that one, and it goes for like $300 now when they did it originally. So hopefully they redo that one. A battle damaged one would be cool, but I don't really have much interest in a battle damaged one. Just the ISS, and maybe it's a pipe dream, but maybe they'll do the NX refit. I highly doubt it, but that would be really cool. But there's really not much else to say. I'll see you again in my next video. Don't know what or when it will be. Oh, one more thing. The new ship also comes with the coin that came with the ship originally. It doesn't seem to be the best detailed thing in the world, but it does come with it. I don't know where my original coin is. I think I lost it when I moved. And it has the Art Asylum logo on the back. So it does come with that, which is kind of cool. I wasn't expecting it to come with that. But that's all there is to say. Thanks for watching. I'll be back in the future with the video. Don't know what it'll be. Maybe the Romulan Bird of Prey. But we'll see you then. Thank you very much for watching. Just a quick little bonus thing for the end, right after the recap. This is my Enterprise line. I will show the new NX-01 in my Enterprise line. So we have the NX-01, the new one, the Eagle Moss ship, HD Enterprise, Wrath of Khan Enterprise, the new Enterprise A that I did a video on, my Enterprise B, Enterprise C. This is not a Diamond Select ship. It's not a Diamond Select stand, but it's not a Diamond Select ship. I had this built for me by someone that did a great job. The Enterprise D, and the Nemesis Enterprise E. So that's my Enterprise line. Like I said, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.